Hey YouTube, Thursday morning. What's the date today, hon?
24th,
The 24th of January 19, and it's obvious that it has been raining since yesterday at around 10 o'clock. I think it started raining. It's still raining, and we lost about 8 inches of snow, but we gained about 2 inches of ice. So you can see that the driveway, there's nothing but a disaster. I gotta try and get some ashes out there so we can drive or walk. Okay guys, so we were having our coffee and it's 10:30 or so, and now it's starting to snow. So this is what I say, this is all crazy stuff. Now if I would have put the ashes out there, they'd get covered in snow and then they wouldn't be functional. So if we get like a ½ inch of snow, it'll actually make walking and stuff easier. So I hope that that's what happens. Meanwhile, I want to go over to the garage in a couple minutes. I'll just show you, I did that gun barrel and it really came out nice. I'm very surprised. Hey guys, I don't know how good excuse me, the camera's going to pick this up. But believe me when I tell you, when the old guy brought the gun to me, this gun barrel was the color of this. It was totally rust. So that's why it sat there for 2 years, because I was really not knowing for certain what to do to it. But here's what I did. I sanded it down originally with 600 grit and 600 grit sandpaper. What I found out by watching a couple internet things and stuff and some YouTube videos was that the 600 grit was considered polishing it, but 400 grit would be considered, you know, roughing the surface. So then I swapped over to some 400 grit and I did the whole barrel with 400 grit. Now look, this gun is, I don't know, this is probably about $130 gun. It's only a, I believe it's a Savage or a Marlin 22. I know it's hard to see there. I can't even read it myself. But here's the point. The barrel was totally brown, and now I am very pleased with how this came out. Now I did end up using all of this stuff, and the way I did it was, you saw I had the barrel apart and stuff, so I put some holders at each end of the barrel so that I could twirl it and, you know, rotate it a little bit to be able to get at it. And what I did was I sanded it down good, cleaned it off as best I could, wiped it down with rubbing out or denatured alcohol. Okay, so I used denatured alcohol then to rub it down and clean it. And then when it dried, I took a propane torch and just lightly heated the whole barrel with the receiver. Not much, just enough to get it to know that it was warm. Okay, warm to the touch. And then I started putting this Oxiflow or Oxfo, whatever you call, however you say that, Brownell stuff onto there. Now this is a small bottle, and I'll be honest with you, this did do the gun, but you know, I've got like hardly nothing left. I think that if you're going to do a gun, you know, spend the extra bucks and get a bigger one in case you spill it or anything. But anyway, so what I did then was I took a cotton swab, like they recommend, the cotton thing, put it in there, put long streaks along the whole barrel, twirling it, rubbing it on. Not in. They don't want you to really rub it in, they want you to put it on. So I rubbed it on there really nice, and what's that thing say? Oh yeah, the Marlin Firearms Company. Okay, so it's an old Marlin, or 22. So anyway, yeah, I put this onto a cotton ball. I rubbed it full length, you know, to get a nice streak effect, not streaks, but a nice covering all the way around. And then what you do is you leave it on for 60 seconds, it says, or like, you know, a minute, and then you take and dry it with a towel. And I use paper towel. I don't care what anybody says about rags, but I use paper towel. So I use paper towel basically to dry it, and then after I dry it, you take a little bit of this triple-aught or quadruple-aught steel wool and you basically shine it up a little bit. Now it's real thin after the first one. I probably put 10 coats on there to get it to what you're seeing right now. And like I say, I am very pleased with it. If I would have had a little more of this, I probably would have done a little bit better with the receiver part. But the receiver was so etched and so rusted that I could hardly get it to be really smooth. But the color's nice. That's what's important. Now I also did a part of the bolt. I did the bolt handle, which came out good, and you can see the top of the bolt there came out good. Now it's a little thin on the back of that bolt head, but you know, I basically don't have any more stuff left. But I'm gonna call this done, because let's face it, if the guy didn't take care of the gun the first time, he ain't gonna take care of it the second time. And that's how I look at things. I'm sorry. So if I have this fixed for him, it looks nice, I'm going to clean the gun yet, the inside of the barrel and the chamber, and then I'm going to give it back to him. And hopefully he'll, you know, put oil on them before he goes and puts them away for whatever amount of time. But I'm really happy with the way this product came out. There's other videos online about this, and I've watched some of them. Some of the guys seem to make it seem like it's more difficult than it really is. I'm telling you, the process is like this. Sand the barrel down with 400, really good, you know, like a 400 wet or dry paper. And then if you want to, well, you don't even have to, just sand the barrel down. I took the sights off, front and rear sights, so nothing was in my way. Sand the barrel down with 400, okay, really good, do a nice thorough job cleaning it. And then take and put rubbing out or denatured alcohol, use that stuff to clean it really good. And if you use a nice clean towel, you know, you'll see how much dirt you actually get from the barrel. And I keep wiping it until I got nothing on the paper towel, which takes a little, you know, effort. So you keep wiping that until there's nothing on the paper towel with the alcohol. Once the alcohol's dry, then I started with a hair dryer, or not a hair dryer, I have a heat gun. And the heat gun wasn't doing what I wanted quick enough. In other words, I'd heat this end up, and by the time I got down here and back up, that end was cool. So I used a little propane torch and, you know, moved it the full length of the barrel back and forth to get it to be warmed up. Now this does not have to be hot. It doesn't have to be that when you touch it you burn yourself. All you need to do is just make it warm, you know, like say 80-90 degrees. It doesn't have to be a lot warmer than that. At least that's what I did. So when I checked it with the little handheld temperature thing, it was around 80 degrees. So, and it was 50 when I started. So I put, like I say, I rubbed it with the alcohol, heated it up with the torch till it was around 80 degrees, which is not very long. And then I took and made long streaks. What's important is that you want to make sure you have something in both ends that you can support it so you can turn it. So what I did was I had in my vise, I put a piece of dowel, and I could actually spin the barrel on that dowel while I was working. And I think that's the most important part, that you can get all the way around it so it doesn't look streak it. So then put it on, let it sit a minute, dry it, and then buff it with this triple-aught or quadruple-aught steel wool. Wipe it off till it's clean again, and then put more of that stuff on. And you just follow that. That's all you do. You heat it, you warm up the barrel, put the stuff on in long, you know, like wipes. Don't try and rub it in. Wipe all the way down from one end to the other if you're doing the whole gun. Make sure you have it all the way around. 60 seconds. Then go after it with a little bit of steel wool. Then wipe it down good, you know, with a clean towel. No, don't use any alcohol after the first time. At least I didn't. And then keep wiping it off until you're not getting anything on the paper towel, roughly. And then do it again. I've done that 10 times, and I have to tell you that the barrel is very nice. The receiver you can see there's some bumps in there. The color's good, but I'm telling you, that thing was really badly rough. So that, like I say, the color of the receiver is good, but the barrel itself is even better. It's shiny, it's beautiful. So then after I put the they call it burnishing. After I did the very last coat, leave it sit for a minute, and then I cleaned it up, you know, shined it up with the triple or the quadruple steel wool. Then what I did was I put some oil on it. Now, I basically wiped the oil off already. I put some on, wiped it off, because I just felt that the oil would help to, you know, keep it from doing anything it shouldn't be doing. But it looks pretty good. The sight here is slightly lighter than the barrel because, again, I was running out of the stuff after doing the barrel so many times. But I'm not going to worry about it because, like I said, if he didn't take care of it the first time around, I don't know what he's going to do the second time, and I'm not worried about it. So, but it came out nice. Originally, I was going to use this Blue Wonder, but I'll tell you what, I had used that on a 22 that I had that was just an old gun, and I wanted to make it look nicer, and that stuff there is not as good as this stuff from Brownell, because this comes with some kind of developer. I forget how you put it on at the moment, but you know, this is much better than what this is, so I used that. I don't know how long it's going to last. I can tell you if the guy brings a gun back, you know, in 2 years' time. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it came out really nice. Again, I think the product is good. You know, if you follow the directions that I just said, or what's on the label there, where is it, on the back of the bottle, you'll be fine. So, thumbs up to this stuff, because it's done a really nice job. There's no streaks in it. The only thing you see if you look really close here, this thing was rusted pretty badly. Like right in here you can see a little bit of, you know, marking, but the color's good, okay? And you know, where you see the light and all, if you just turn, you'll see the color is all good all through there, which is what I think is really nice. So, alright, so that's another job done, except I gotta clean it. I'm gonna clean it now and then I can give it to him when he comes back. So there you go, guys. That's the review and also the thing on this. I didn't get a chance to videotape that because actually the video that you saw yesterday sort of used up all my battery life, and when I went to do this, the camera was kind of dead. So I figured I'd just show you the end results, because you can see, you know, I mean, rubbing stuff on is not a big deal or anything. But it did come out nice. Alright, guys. Well, guys, you can see it's all snow now. Got about probably a ½ inch or so. But at least now you can walk on the ice. That's what was weird. See, the ice was wet, so it was very slippery. And now that the snow fell, you know, it sticks to the water, sticks to the ice, and now you can walk on it. I even drove up there with the four-wheeler without slipping. And Bullseye, took Bullseye out this morning. So I don't know what we're supposed to get today. They said no accumulation, but I hope we get about 2 or 3 inches at least. I don't even mind if I'd have to plow it, just so we get enough snow to cover that ice. So guys, if you look down that piece of hemlock there, you can see that I got a nice 1.5 inch dowel I'll be able to get out of that thing, or round handle, so it's not wasted. Got to get out the draw knife and start working on that. I'm gonna go grab some lunch first. like when your other tools are somewhere else. Like my table saw. But we can handle this. This hickory has a nice smell to it. Even a little bit of it burning in the wood stove changes a lot of the smell that comes out of the stove. Okay. I'll cut the other side, then we'll have a square, and then I'll be able to round that square off with the draw knife. Not bad. I think I'm gonna get this white wood off of here. I'll cut from this side to square this up, and then I'll go ahead and use the draw knife on it. Okay guys, so you know what I'm doing here. This piece of hickory was out in the sawmill shed for quite a while, and if you look there, it's at 13%. Okay, now 19% is a good number for things that are going to be outside in Pennsylvania, at least where I'm at. So this is a little bit low, but it's dry, so anything at all means it's going to swell up a little bit, which is not going to be bad. So when when it's put out in the shed to stay out there as a tool. So I'm going to just go ahead and work this. I'm going to work this part out where the ferrule's going to fit. I marked the bottom first, and I'm going to mark the top here. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Yeah. So the ferrule on the top is 1 1/16 inches. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 16ths. So we're going to break that down. 1 2 3, partial 16th there. I'm going to find the middle of this first. So that would be let's see, 8 9 10. So 5/8 is the center of it, and then 1 inch. So you'll find the center, and then we have 1 inch. So that would be the top. We don't want to go any smaller than that. Same thing over here. We find the center, so it's 1 and 1, 2, 3/8. So 1 1/16 gives me what I need there, so that'll be a half. So I'm going to come over there. A half and a half gives me 1 inch. That's the width I want to be at that point. And then here you can fudge that a little bit, so you're looking at this and basically that. And this one here, right here, and right there. So once I take the wood out of there, and it's basically going to be on a taper and round this, I will have the shape of the ferrule, and then I'll drill a hole in it and get the hole and the hoe itself figured out so that it's going to fit this thing nice and tight. And like I said, because this is a little dry, it's going to swell up when you put it outside, so that'll make it even tighter. Now there's other ways to do this. You can do it any way you like. I'm doing this basically by hand because that's what I want to do. Give myself something to do today. So I need to go get my draw knife, and I'm going to cut this first and fit the head to that, and then I'll worry about the rest of the handle as I go. In case you're wondering, I have a nice 4-foot square table that I usually do stuff on, but in the winter, because I keep the trucks inside all the time and the tractor now, I have the table over behind the greenhouse, so that's why I don't have a really nice spot here to work, because I usually don't do too much woodwork in winter. Of course, that's probably when I ought to be doing it. I know I got to make a lot of furniture, and I got to get back up to that house to start doing the trim. What I ought to do is make myself one of those tables that you sit in, like a chair. You sit in it, and you can hold the wood. It's like a vice stool. I forget what they call them exactly, but that's what I ought to have. Maybe I'll make one of them sometime. my lathe isn't big enough to put this in. It's only 36. It's got a 36-inch throat. This is 52 or 54 inches, so it won't fit. Phew, it's getting hot in here with this wool shirt on. Probably do this with a block plane as well if you wanted to.
So what I'm doing there is I'm looking down the side of the ferrule just to give myself the shape and that roundness. And I'm using the marker then to just tell me what I can take off. So I'm drawing a line roughly along what I'm looking at the ferrule, and then I'm going down like halfway down that radius that's on the wood to tell me how far I can take this off of here. And I'm doing it on both sides. And we can work on this side here or that side, it doesn't really matter. When I move the draw knife to the side like that, I'm trying to cut short. I don't want to pull it through and take this bottom off anymore. There's no need for to take any more off of that. So when I pull it to the side, it cuts quicker and comes out of the wood a little bit. We're about halfway. Now if you're trying to make it a perfect fit, what you can do is use a sander or a rasp and turn this a little bit to get yourself a nice fit. It's looking pretty good on this side. We need a little bit off of there. This side needs a little more. One of the other things you can do is if you put a line down through the middle there to make sure that you're aiming straight up through. In other words, something like this. Just so that you keep the furl in the center of the piece. I have an old Az over in the shed that my grandfather put a handle on years and years ago, and the candles, you know, you can see that it's from a stick, but it's a little bit of a treasure to me, so I think that putting something in it that has a little crook in it or whatever, but it ends up lasting a lifetime is pretty neat, I think. And I'm going to get a rasp. Oh, the battery went dead there, guys. I'm getting pretty good, pretty far up there. Got about an inch left. Probably most of it has to come out up here, shape a little bit here. I want to roll it over because I've been rounding this off. I want to get on the other side there before I go too far. Yeah. Okay. this handle, there's like some rust from putting it into the fire. So you can see where that rust mark is, and that means that that's tight on there like that. That's what's stopping it from going on. So I'm turning that to see what's going on. Now I don't want to take too much off of one side only, but I'm going to take the rust off this side, then flip it over again. You can see there's some rust on there, so that's telling me that that has to come off. So I don't even have to check it. Just take a little bit off of there. That's all. Just knock the rust off with a cutting tool. You can also use an oxygen acetylene torch to smoke the inside of fittings if they're new and they're not rusted, to be able to give you a good idea of where you are. A lot of people use that idea, or a candle. You can use a candle for that. You got about 5/8 of an inch there to go. Most of it's up at the top here now. Not taking much. I'm only going, right now I'm concentrating more on making it round than I am cutting it. Now I don't know if you can see that, but I'm a little loose up here, so it's probably down by the bottom that I need some out of there. So yeah, you can see some rust on there, tiny bit there, but there's nothing really up here, so it needs some here to go up further. You know, it's no secret to do this. The thing is when you put this on, as long as you have some sort of a mark on there that's telling you where it's hitting in there, you can take the time to get this perfect. I'm not interested in perfect. I'm interested in just getting it on there and as snug as I can. I don't know if you can see it from this side here. It's got some outer round there going on. And then the closer you get to where you want to be, the less wood you want to really take off of there. You can see I'm still a little snug down in here, and we're down about a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch there that has to come off. I'm not a pro with this. Of course, I don't think there's pretty many or too many pros at putting handles on anymore. And probably the best way to do this is to put, you know, it into a lathe if you want to get it really nice. But this won't fit in my lathe, so I'm not going to worry about that. I gotta watch. I need to take just a little bit off here, but this side is pretty free, so. You can see where it was rubbing there. I don't know how the grandkids and my kids will feel. Probably don't care, but for me, when I grab a hold of a tool and I know my grandfather used that tool, it's a very good feeling to me, and I like that. So, uh, 3/8 yet. I gotta take some more of this off. It looks good down in here. I don't see any real rust on there anywhere. Right on this one, there's a little flat spot right here. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm looking to keep this going up there, so I'm going to take off enough to just follow up there with that. I'm not looking at anything other than this to make sure that that same plane is following through there. See, there's a little bit here, right there. I'll turn it over and look on the other side there. You can see where it needs to be cut down a little more. I know it's hard to see from the camera, but looking from my end, well, I could even hold this there. If you see the edge of this, you can see right where that is, it's a little high there. So this has to come off a little bit here. You want to be careful when you're getting this close. You don't want to take much. Looks like it's a little here and a little underneath there. It's getting pretty close. You know, I'm tempted to tap it on there. The problem with that is if I tap it on, I might not get it back off. So I gotta resist temptation here. Let's see what we got there. You can see I got about a quarter, actually a little less than a quarter because it's turned in there a little bit. So I'm working the edge of this from the line up. I don't want to make a big dip. I'm just trying to take enough off that I can get it to go up there. If I can get it within 1/8 of an inch of being completely on, then I can drive it on and that'll hold it tight. But I got to drill a hole in this as well then for that other piece of the that's on the hoe. You know, that can go up in there further. I think I'd be able to drive that on once I got the hoe on there. Now we'll see if I can drill a hole. Okay, so I marked the drill bit as to how deep it goes, and I've already drilled the hole. But that's how deep I need to be. Now this drill bit's a little small, so I just want to, it's a hair smaller than what the hook is on the hoe. So I just want to, I'm not going like around in a circle, I just want to get the full bit to cut all the wood out of that. Now this thing I'm gonna take and I think I'm gonna file that off a little bit. Looks like it's a little rough, probably from me pounding on it with a chisel trying to get the wood out because I really didn't know how far down in this was. I'll be cleaning this up and I'm gonna weld this better. Might have to drill a little bit bigger hole. Let me brush this thing off on the wire wheel and just grind a little edge on. Okay guys, so when I measure this piece here, I'm around 440. So a drill bit 7/16 I think it is like 435. So it's going to probably be good. So I'll just drill this hole again with this bigger bit. Again, I want to mark how far up it's going to go. And then I'll be able to put the put the tool onto there. Okay, I might get a little bit of a split down here, but the rest of it seems okay. So I'm just going to put the ferrule over top of this and then try and guide this handle on here, then I'll drive the ferrule on. So the ferrule's in, or the handle's in as far as it goes. Now the ferrule can be driven up until it's tight against the wood. And get some kind of a punch or something that I can hit that with. I was just thinking what I ought to do, since we have Gorilla Glue. I'm thinking about putting some Gorilla Glue in this. I don't think it'll hurt it. Let me do that. I'm not going to put too much of it on there, just enough to help it stay on. But I will put some on here as well for the ferrule. I mean, I don't know if there was any glue on there, but it sure as heck didn't want to come out, I can tell you that. So, let's just do this. Okay. So, let me just back you up here so you can see what's going on. Yeah, so it seems pretty snug in there now. Twist it a little bit, but I think that once I finish this handle, if I drive this on more, maybe I can even drive it on this way. It should be alright, because we don't want it to twist. Maybe I shouldn't have ground that thing round at the end. That might have goofed that up. But I can put a little pin in it there too to help hold it. I'm using the flat end of this. Gotta watch how hard you hit that or the metal will split. The ferrule will split open. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this sit until this glue dries on here. We got a pretty good fit around here. Could have been a little bit better, but I'm not worried about it. I think I'll be okay. So I'll leave that thing dry good and then I'll start working on it. I don't want to be yuxing it around, but that's going to be a good length for me. So, yeah. Let it dry and then I'll come back and finish it up probably tomorrow. So at least we got a hickory handle on that thing. And what I want to do is, I like having the ends, when you get older, your grip, you tend to lose your grip. So I'm going to widen this. I did the same thing with an axe and it made it a lot better for me to grab a hold of. So if I widen this and maybe even widen it where I'm going to hold it, you know, a little, like a thin wider, I'll be able to grab a hold of it a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to leave that thing sit, do its thing. Like I say, I think I'm going to put a pin in there. But I'll worry about that later. We'll see how it holds up. Thanks for watching, guys. That's the end of my video for today. I think it's, like I said, Thursday. I'll give you a little weather update. So we've got about 1 inch of snow. It stopped snowing now. Just a couple little flurries. It's about 1 inch, I would say. And like I say, it just like that, it stopped it from being slippery. If you remember what I was saying yesterday about plowing, it's hard when to know to plow or not to plow. I usually wait for 4 inches, but I didn't do it today, so this is going to be fine. So I can actually walk the dog if I want to, or, you know, walk up to the driveway, whatever I have to do without breaking my neck. Have a good one, my friends.